Let's wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. In fairness, we were discussing important things. Okay. Okay.
We were making plans for you. We saw you.
Right.
We wanted to be ready for
We want
you.
to be precise. As you all know, the StarMorata love session in the mountains is going to be happening in about a month, kids. Okay.
Excuse me?
You're not going to be there, okay? This is a spiritual awakening of the feminine body and mind.
Shut up. Anyway,
Okay, this is
the way
getting a
that
little
this
too
works.
lesbian for me. I don't know that I can do this.
I should complain more. Listen, we could see you guys complaining, but we were talking about important things.
Did we forget to go live on YouTube?
I didn't.
I don't think I did. I thought
I'm literally looking at the comments on YouTube on my side right now. Babalito, maybe you should head back over there. Oh, sorry.
I thought I made it live on mine.
They live on Twitter. I'm not live on Twitter. She live on Twitter.
I'm live on Twitter.
How am I forgetting to go live if you're commenting on my YouTube?
Hold on.
I'll go check. You checking yours? I'll check mine.
Tried to get me with the whole get all three for $60, or I can get them all three separately. Spend less. So that's what I did.
No, I'm live on YouTube too. There's even 2 people watching.
Yeah, I'm live as well. Hi, Annie. See, I'm even looking at my chat, sir.
See, well, Mr. Wrong says it apparently just now connected.
Why you fucking
Hello,
lying?
Smokey.
Why you always lying? I know we were here for like 30 minutes. Actually, I've been here since 10:45.
I was extra. I was late because I made cheese, and then first I made dinner, and then I made cheese, and then I had to eat some banana pudding. I couldn't not eat the banana pudding.
She has a process, guys.
And then I got here, and then we were planning,
making big plans.
And then Sheep started talking, and you know how he doesn't ever shut up.
Yeah, I mean, guys, if anything, he really needs to learn to stop talking.
Right. We couldn't get him to stop. We're like, we gotta go live. These people are here waiting for us. And he just wouldn't stop.
Shut up. We gotta go, man. God. So, that's...
I don't think he heard us. I think we're saying...
We're gonna hear over the microphone, you motherfuckers. Excuses. Well, also, I will be coloring today, guys, while we're talking, because I have made some stuffs for people.
I should do my nails, but...
and my nails will be coming at some point this week, but right now, I mean, they look quite nice and long, though. I've been taking very good care of them.
They do. Mine I've managed to keep them from breaking this week.
Oh, those do look nice and lovely, don't they?
This one is...
Your index finger. Your index finger is looking particularly well filed.
Yeah.
Particularly nice.
Hey, Stardust.
Well, you know what? Just in case, I have a question for you. Should we maybe poll them about what you and I were talking about earlier? A or B? They know we'll move on.
No, I don't think... As much as their opinion is important, in this case, I think our opinions are much more...
I like that phrase. I do. I recall there was actually something I wanted to talk about tonight. There's a couple of things that I thought were actually a really good overall topic you and I could talk about. I didn't prepare you for it, but I wasn't too concerned. However, I was literally about to. However, this is really... Listen, okay, I've been waiting for tonight because I need advice. I have a small, easy-to-train dog on a budget of $300.
You need a small, easy... When you say define small, give me that in poundage.
And define on a budget of $300. You need to buy a small dog for $300, or you need to be able to pay
$300 to have it changed.
$300.
Trained.
Any breed advice. Okay. So you want to buy a dog for $300.
At $300... If that's what you're trying to do, your best bets are to either go to a rescue, which can still be expensive. It's going to be iffy depending on the rescue, or you're going to have your honestly your best bet is to go to the Humane Society, find a dog in your size, range, whatever you're looking for, because when you say breed, when you say size, that's when you say small, I mean, I have dogs ranging from 5 pounds to 20 pounds in my house, and they're technically qualified as small. So
Greta's considered a medium-sized dog, and she's 55 pounds.
right, so you need to think about how your poundage, how much dog per pound,
Not pounding, poundage.
And then what you'll want to do is you'll want to visit your local humane societies. They should have a yard or something that gives you an opportunity to spend time with the dog, and that will actually give you a good indication of how you will get along with that dog. Ask them if they have any treats or anything that you can give it. See if how the dog responds to that. You should relatively easily with a dog that's got an okay brain and isn't just entirely fucked up. You should be really easily able to give it a treat without it snapping. That's actually one of the first ways is, you offer the treat, and if how it approaches that will tell you a lot about how. Thank you, Vincent. I really wanted to be muted. I appreciate that. Lap dog, small dog. So yeah, I would go for probably between 15 and 50 pounds at the most, but honestly, I would stay more towards 30 in that between 15 and 30 pounds.
Yeah. And I would say if you're looking for breed, in my opinion, if you're looking for ones that are decent, you're going to look for a small poodle. You're going to look for hold on. If you get a bred one or you get one that is calm, I'm talking in terms of training it easy. Yes. Because Chihuahuas I've trained, poodles I've trained, Papillon I've trained, and Pomeranians I've trained. They are easy to train, and they are ample in a shelter. Like, these are the dogs they're more apt to find. The chances of them finding a dog like yours, like, you don't want them getting a Jack Russell. Yeah, they're easy to train, but those are crazy.
No, Jack Russells are not easy to train. I mean, as bad as poodles can be, Jack Russells are bastards.
Yeah.
But you do kind of want to stay not out of the terrier zone, but you don't want something like a Jack Russell, for example, is a really high energy dog. You need something smaller, or not smaller, but you need something that has more of a laid back personality. So.
And they said how many poundage they want to go for?
He didn't really say how much in terms of weight. So yeah, I mean, I was just telling him about 15 to 30 pounds. If you're looking for lap dog, fishing buddy kind of dog, you'll want to stay in that range. And honestly, I would probably, depending on how much care you're looking to do, look for something with a shorter coat. Terriers can be easy to train. Just make sure it's not Jack Russell, because they do have a lot of they are so prey driven and really hyperactive. They can be really difficult if you're not spending the time with them.
Especially Min Pins, rat terriers, like all these dogs in a controlled environment, in a bubble, can become dogs. Like, you can find a calm rat terrier. You can find a calm Jack Russell. They do exist as a rule, however. And that's what I would say if I had to pick. My first guess is always a Papillon, because every time I've met a Papillon, with rare exception, they're generally calm and happy dogs because they were bred to be that way. However, their fur does come with a lot of upkeep.
Yeah, and that's part of why. And especially if you're looking for a fishing type dog, a dog that you want to take out and about in the wild, Papillon or something with the smooth coat isn't going to be what you want, because it will get tangled unless you keep them short, trimmed short, and that's going to cost you money. Keeping them groomed particularly correctly.
I don't have that. Okay, they've owned a husky, so they know the bad. Okay.
You know, so, but I would probably say, like, if you could find something along the lines of a Bichon, they are very laid back, good dogs.
A mutt would probably be your best bet, honestly.
Yeah, a mutt, but I would look for something with like a Bichon heritage. I probably wouldn't go poodle personally, especially not in terms of toy poodle, which is where you're going to get that smaller dog.
genetic issues if you get a toy.
Well, you're also going to get genetic issues, but I just mean for the size of dog he's probably looking for, it would probably be from a toy poodle more than a standard, which
Right.
makes a big difference. And I mean, poodles can be very well trained, but they can also be absolute assholes.
Rachel made a very stay away from dogs like the ones she has. So West End Terriers, Highland Terriers, anything that would be small but is more Yorkies are any dog that was essentially bred originally to hunt. You might want to avoid.
I will say, beavers, while they are kind of working dogs, since they were actually developed after a time of working dogs, they have working dogs in their background. They make excellent laid back pets.
Hi,
they
Tony.
do kind of match energy. Half of my dog's problem is the people they live with.
Yeah, but the thing is, what are the chances of him finding one of your dogs? Not necessarily your dog, but one of your dogs.
One of my breeds. Well, you could probably find something that is a mix. I'll be entirely honest, because way too many people try to breed and end up doing that. But yeah, for the most part, mine are usually pretty laid back. But really, I would say your best bet is don't look at a specific breed. I would go to the Humane Society for your price range. Your best bet is to go to the Humane Society and spend time with the dogs there and see which ones match your energy. See which ones has the personality that you are looking for.
And I will say this, controversial as it is, you might find a smaller pit bull that has everything you're looking for. Because sometimes the smaller ones, from my experience, have especially if you go for a female. I will say that I have found in my experience with dogs, now I don't know if she's going to agree, typically if a female is
I'll let her finish.
Yeah, if a female is fixed and it is usually, again, mutt, you're going to find they can be much calmer. But the key thing is that if you're not picky about the breed, you're not too picky about the size, and as long as it is not super energetic, a horror's advice is the perfect advice. You have to go there. You have to tell the staff, this is what I'm looking for. I am looking for a dog that seems like it's been very easy to train. It's adaptable, has a generally calm attitude, and is not afraid of water because you're intending to take this dog out in a boat or over towards the waterfront, and is not a large size. Typically, they want their dogs to get adopted. So they're not going to do something stupid like, recommend. Well, that's not true. They might recommend you the wrong dog, but that's why do it over a series of days.
Yeah. Go a couple days in a row. If you find a dog you like, spend like 2 or 3 different sessions with it.
We got it, Malamute, the dumbest dog I ever had.
I will say, if it is just you and the dog, then a female is probably okay. The problem with females is even after they're fixed, they have a tendency to be more territorial, and they can be more aggressive. They might be a little more calm in terms of when you're home alone with each other, but you will probably have slightly more problems in terms of barking when someone shows up, if that's something you want. However, if you want them to bark when someone shows up, female will be great, trust me. But even
maybe I'm lucky with Greta. She never did any of that ever. It wasn't until Orion he brought it out in her.
Yeah,
she was great until him.
I always find it funny when people think, "Oh, but female dogs are so much more more loving." No, they're really not. Female dogs can actually be far more standoffish and bitchy. Even if your dog is fixed, they can have issues with other dogs in heat because they do get aggressive towards each other during that period of time. I've had to deal with that for a while, and I have a female who's been fixed since the day she could be fixed, and a female who's intact. So
maybe I just got lucky.
I mean, it's not a 100% anytime. It's always a hit or miss. There's always going to be variances, but honestly, yeah, at $300, you are going to not only spend your money in the best way, because at that point the dog is coming to you not only hello bestie testy, not only is it going to be
fully
health
vetted.
checked, microchipped, vaccinated, and all that other stuff, it will be less expensive. And you're not going to get a bred. You're not, if you are able to find a breeder who will sell you a dog for $300, there's a problem with that breeder. Just to be entirely upfront. Because there's either a problem with the dog they're selling you, which, I mean, that could be that the dog is just pet quality and they just want to get rid of it, but that's really rare. Or they're a backyard breeder who's just looking to pump out as many dogs as possible.
Right. And that's why I do actually really like just going to the shelter more, because again, you've got a lot of dogs, and I would honestly say try to go and to ask them first and foremost, show me the smaller dogs that have been here longest, because a lot of times, shockingly, laid back dogs don't get adopted.
Yeah, a lot of people want the excited ones, the ones that look all happy to be there, and then they bring them back because they were too energetic.
Yeah.
But the other thing to the other thing to do is to look up the shelters in your area, see if they have a website. A lot of times they will actually have pictures and descriptions that you can go off of. And then you can even go in pre-informed of what dogs you'd be interested in spending time with.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for subbing Jim Bob.
But I would definitely say it's what's going to benefit you the most is talking to the shelter staff. Aw, Bestie Testy, that's sweet of you. Thank you, honey.
But yeah, I mean, that's the best thing I can see in that price range. It's, I mean, $300 for a dog sounds like a lot to a lot of people. And it's not, but I mean, we won't talk about how expensive my dogs were.
Because here's the thing. I got both of my dogs for the premium price of free $99. I didn't pay a dime for either of my dogs. But that's also because Greta was a situation where 17 puppies, she had to get rid of them. And she was like, please, I don't want to put them in the shelter. So I got as many homes as I could for these dogs, including with me. With Orion, my friend could not handle him. She was so done with him. She was so done with how he was acting. And so I don't blame her. And so that's why I will say, you have to pick also what you can handle, which again, if you've had a husky, you've already seen the dark side. So you already know exactly how bad it can get.
You could also skim the newspaper, like literally go and buy a newspaper and look through for people who have had accidental litters. And
Facebook yard sale.
Yeah, that too. And yep, mom's Tiberius. That he was a bred dog. That dog had papers. That dog was a Bichon Frise with papers for $300, and you can tell his mom was probably gotten by a basset hound.
Gee, I wonder where it showed.
So, but Tiberius was a good dog. But I'm not saying you can't get a good dog for $300. I'm just saying to maximize your return on your money. For everything, your best bet is the shelter, the newspaper, Facebook, maybe, because Facebook gets weird about trying to do pets on
you have to go to a page that is specifically, so I've made rescue pages. The page you're on has to be coded for rescue, rehome, and if it's not, then, and they have rules, they have people to keep up with it, because I've joined all the ones in my area. So there are pages specifically designed for rehome.
And rehoming could be a really good possibility. I mean, a rehomed dog for someone who has to move or something who could actually be pre-trained. You never know. Now you do have, and it's the same issue with getting it from the shelter, as you might inherit somebody else's problems. But with a good dog, it can be dealt with.
Typically, a lot of them, from my experience, have been people who just literally went out and got a dog, and then their life started back up, and they're like, can't keep it anymore. Oh, no, the dog's fine. Oh, no, the dog doesn't cause any problems. I mean, I literally see it every day. So while she is definitely not wrong that you might be, no matter what, you can always be inheriting someone else's problem, there's a fair often that you're going to see just hordes of irresponsible people dumping their dogs. And often you might not even have to pay the 300.
I mean, sometimes it could be as low as 25, 75. Just someone who wants to, they bought a dog for their kid for their birthday, and the kid doesn't take care of it, and they don't have the patience, and they don't want to deal with it, and they just want to get rid of the goddamn dog.
Sadly, in my town, usually they're like, someone come take this dog. I can't keep it anymore. I don't have the time, and I don't want to bother going to the shelter, because some places the shelter will charge you.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times these people don't even want to have to bother with that, and so they're just like, just come take this fucking thing off my hands. So, and often I've met these dogs afterwards, and they're great animals where there's nothing wrong with them, and yet these people will just dump them like that. So we got something for free after the previous owner wanted to get rid of her after she failed to use. Yeah, there are people that like, for instance, there was a dog that on one of the rescue pages, they warned this dog, these people, when they adopted it, hey, this dog was attacked fairly often. It's a rescue. You got to let it decompress. You got to give it some time. They didn't listen. They brought the dog to 4th of July. The dog attacked another dog. And now they want to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, a dog's a great solution for you. So your best bet, like I said, is definitely, I mean, honestly, going to the shelter will solve 2 problems. You'll get out, you'll talk to somebody a little bit, and you'll pick a dog. And you know what? You might even try, if your health reasons will allow for it, you might even try volunteering, because some shelters need help with people who will come in and just spend time with the dogs.
That would actually be perfect, because then you get a lot of time. Like, if you need time to figure out which dog works for you, there's nothing better than going and being a volunteer, because then you're going to meet these dogs and you're going to get to see them when they're not getting that over excitement of a new person. They're going to recognize you and you're going to start to bond. And then you don't know, any of those dogs could become that dog.
Could be your dog. I mean, you never know what dog you'll bond with. And like if you're old and lonely and tired and just need some company, you can do a good thing for yourself and a good thing for them at the same time.
As they said when they hooked me for Nova and Aria, don't you want to save a life today? 10 years later, 20 animals in. So yeah, I saved a life. Killed my wallet, but I saved a life. But it's stuff like that. So I think it's gonna work well for you. I had a really I think it's an important topic. I think you'll like it. The other day I was scrolling through the old Insta of Grams. And by the way, I am, if you guys are wondering why you might not see my post as much, because I've posted like 15 posts this week and they've barely breached 10 likes each.
Damn.
Couldn't figure out why my account is restricted.
Who'd you piss off?
I shared a post that was honest about a certain president's son.
Oh, oops.
Uh-huh. And they said it was child exploitation.
What?
Yep, and it barred the nudity. Even though I didn't even make the post, I merely shared it. So I don't know if somebody that I pissed in someone's Cheerios and they reported me. But so if you wonder why you don't see me, that's why. But I was looking and I saw this. Every time I see a pet product, it's ADHD. Ooh, shiny. What is this? And it was a giant paw pad with a bunch of little dots in it and then some lights. Okay. And I was like, the hell is this? It's a big white plastic paw pad. And what it is a light you can buy. Okay. And it is a smoke detector. And what it's designed to do is when your house catches on fire, it gets put on the wall of the room your animals are typically in. So what it does is it does not turn off. It just flashes over and over. So that way the firefighters understand, they know where to look. They know there's another animal. And it even comes with a sticker. And I thought this was a great topic. It's a topic we can talk about for a while. Do you have an escape and safety plan for your pets? have you prepared? Most of us live in areas where there's either going to be, especially right now, a riot, a fire. The truth of the matter is right now it's hurricane season.
Okay.
So right now we are in the midst of, if you're on the East Coast, if you're on the West Coast, specifically on the coastal states of
So glad
America.
I'm in Montana.
Yeah, huh?
I'm so glad I'm in Montana. A
You
lot of these things you just said don't happen here.
Well, you're at risk of wildfires.
Not so much where I live.
But the thing is, if there's enough in the area, you still got to evacuate even your area because of the smoke, the damage. There's also different things. If there's a problem where there's mudslides, where there's landslides, if you're in a mountainous area, you've got rock slides. There's a lot of different problems. But the thing is, let's say it's not even a natural disaster. What if your house is on fire? What if something goes wrong in your house? Have you ever thought about how you're going to evacuate your animals?
Ironically, we were just talking about this the other night.
Isn't that it's been coming up. I've seen a lot of rescue, and so I thought this would be a great topic for us to talk about, because it's just like life insurance. I have found most people our age do not have it, do not talk about it, and don't even want to acknowledge that they're going to be in a casket in another few decades. And I'm like, these are important things that we need to talk about. You need to invest in these things. So it's not just putting batteries in your smoke detector. I understand there are certain demographics that just don't like to do that. But, the point is, I couldn't help it. It's been the joke. But, so I want to know, and I currently only have my escape plan. You guys ready for my super exotic escape plan? I shove as many cats as I can into a dog crate, and I strap it to my trunk, and I drive. And I mean, I've got Great Dane-sized dog crates. I don't care. I open the trunk, I put the strap in, call it a day. Where threatens the wrath of God? California. I live in North Carolina, and the thing is, where I live, was it in Charlotte? There's been several sinkholes opening up not too far from where I live, within an hour or so. And the thing is, that's more south. Fun fact, if you live anywhere in Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and South and North Carolina, you live where there's more limestone. And if you live where there's more limestone and salt flats underneath the surface, you also live where there's more apt to be sinkholes.
There's a reason there aren't a lot of basements in that area.
Here's the problem. You can't prevent a sinkhole. That's the one thing I'll tell you. The only way you can, and it's very expensive, but if you live in a sinkhole-prone area, you have to pay for them to drill up to 200, 300 feet, something like that, to make sure that you are in a sinkhole-safe area. Prairie grass goes up in flames really quick. Exactly. If you live anywhere where there's Great Plains, you run the risk of fire. And so I have the idea of where I live, because we've had wildfires, because we have lightning storms and great big storms, and we have I know the crepe myrtle is part of it, but we have several tree breeds here that are not native to North Carolina, but have become very rampant. And as a result, they actually result in more damage to roads, houses, and properties, because these trees are very fragile. It just a little bit of wind and their limbs are falling down. And we also have a plague of
locusts. No, I'm sorry.
We had one on the porch the other day. I don't know what took its wings off, because literally something pulled its wings off and laid them off to the side, and didn't eat the locust, just left it there with 2 legs missing and all its wings. I was like, shit, that's some psycho stuff right there. But if you, we have these it begins with a W, but bugs that bore into the wood and weaken the trees. And they're not even native to us. So I have thought about it. And thankfully, half the cats are in crates right now. But that would be my plan, especially now that Zorro's no longer with us. None of my cats are delicate enough that they'll get physically hurt if I'm being a little rough getting them in a crate. So let me ask you something, Hara. You don't have quite as many animals as I do, but the animals you have would be a lot harder to shove into one location. What What would you
That
say?
hard. I realistically, if something like that happens, my dogs are particularly clingy, so they have a
Other
tendency
or
to come
you?
to me as opposed to run from me. Thank God. But say, for example, the house was to catch on fire, they have a dog door.
Awesome.
So the preference would be that hopefully they would go through the dog door and I could get them in the backyard. That would be the preferable situation. That doesn't happen. It's probably the next with the layout of this house. It's small enough that more likely than not they will be with me, and I'll be shoving a dog and a cat out the window. And we'll just have to catch you when we're all out. that's kind of the plan there. Because in that kind of emergency, there's not going to be enough time. If I'm upstairs in the office, there's not going to be enough time for me to get downstairs and grab a crate. It's going to be we're out the window.
I guess my next question would be, what if it is an evacuation event?
Oh, everybody just goes in the car.
Now, I forget, what is your count on animals right now?
Right this very minute, we're at 6.
6.
4 dogs, 2 cats.
4 dogs. Yeah.
And the dogs do fine in the car. Everybody, I got a double-sided leash, 2 go on that one. I got 2 other leashes, 2 go on the other. Cats go in their crates. Everybody in the car.
It's too dark. See, for me, it's similar to the evacuate from a fire kind of situation. One way or another, everyone's getting shoved in the car, and that's how we going down. It's going to be a very quick but efficient.
I mean, the one thing I have to say for the biggest issue could be Vincent. If he has decided to not be in the house, he could be hard to catch. But Alex would be easy enough to find. The dogs are excited. No, all of the dogs are happy to go in the car. So that wouldn't even be an issue. They'd want to go with us anyway. So Vincent would be my only potential issue. But he also has a tendency to, if something's going on outside, if it's smoky, if it's too hot, if it's rainy, if it's stormy, whatever, he comes in. So
he doesn't remain.
He doesn't go outside and hide. He comes in the house. So realistically, it would be.
Hi, Moon.
It would be just like saying we're going on vacation. We just pack up the dogs in the car and the cats, and off we go.
See, for me, this is one of the reasons why I do want to get a minivan. Orion, why are you being a creeper? What are you sniffing at?
Hi, Moon.
Come here, baby. What's wrong? What's the matter? Why you?
But yeah, in the 30-something years I've lived here, we're not really surrounded by prairie grass. We're surrounded by farmland. So for the most part, you're not going to run into
cow stampede.
Yeah, that would have to be. Even if it was to flood here, the river would have to come up so insanely high to get to my house that the rest of the world has probably already flooded. I mean, I'm not kidding. To get out of the gorge and then up the hill to my house, the world is already, I mean, the river is coming down the hill at that point. So
onto your butts.
Then it's all farmland around us. While it can get very, very smoky here, short of when you get the temperature inversions that actually trap it on top of us, because of the prevailing winds through the area, it has a tendency to not ever get so bad that it would actually cause us to leave. I mean, I've had days where you can literally taste the smoke in the air. Yeah. And all they do is tell you to stay in the house. So where I live, we are actually, I mean, in terms of riots and everything, everybody here's armed. I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, I wasn't just talking about you, madame.
I know. I'm just saying this. That's why I said I'm glad to live in Montana. I'm very happy to live where I live, because overall, in terms of a whole lot of these issues that we could have, winter would probably be the most dangerous one. Because if we got a snowstorm bad enough to knock out power for an extremely long period of time, that could be a problem. At that point, we might have to start burning stuff to keep warm.
Well, that's the one thing where I don't. So even though I like that kind of scenario, because again, you can store a lot more food in the cold than you can in the heat. At the other, bad part of it is then you got to reheat it. So you better keep kerosene on hand. You better keep butane on hand. You better keep things that, coal, charcoal, whatever you can make. And so it does,
Keep
it's
track of what in your
two-sided.
house is flammable. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have to build something outside. Like, all jokes aside, you might have to have a structure outside where you can reliably go to and cook all that stuff, because you can't be doing that in the house. The carbon monoxide is going to kill you. There's
Well,
actually proof that
you're right, but
you don't, because like they actually showed cavemen were experiencing this, and they would actually purposely set up caves. So we're talking people that didn't even understand what carbon monoxide was, but they understood that the flames did it, and so they would redesign how they slept and lived in caves in order to fix that. So it's oh shit, bitch. It's very interesting to see. But I was thinking about it, because like, now let's say, all right, so you have a plan. What about if you're not home? That's the next thing. What if something is happening to your house and you're not there? So that's why it led me into the thoughts about, do you get one of those systems? Do you have an alarm system? Because my thing is, my emotions on it are, and they have been since I've gotten pets and I've had, my own place. There's rarely anybody home. Well, I shouldn't say it like that. When there's times there's people not home, before I had Brandon home 24/7, there was literally always somebody home. But now there's parts of the day when there's not. What about when I'm not there? What about when I'm not able to help my animals? So I was thinking about different devices and things that you can get for your house
yeah.
that can help the animals out. So let me ask you that. If you had to pick, what kind of devices would you want?
Well, the first thing I do is I'd get one of those stickers and put it on my front door. It's the ones that tells the police officers or firemen or whatever how many animals are in the house.
That's something I want to invest in. I still haven't, for some stupid reason. But
I haven't either, but realistically, I have someone home all the time at this point, so it's not something I worry about as much. But still, say something happens to him, I'd like them to know he's in the house too.
True. And again, like you said, my house isn't very big, so I think I sometimes take that for granted. I sometimes I take for granted that, there is somebody home, and that my animals, or I did take for granted, I should say, because it's not the case anymore, that there's somebody home and that somebody could whatchamacalls it.
You probably do. I don't get a lot of viewers over on Kick.
I was prepared to ignore Kick.
Oh, come on. It's Metastep.
And then I realized it was Metastep, and I was like, hey, Meta. How you doing, babe? But, so it's just things like that. Like, these are things that go through my head, and I do think, especially now that I'm going to have my niece around, who, by the way, is just so big, and she was starting to stand up all on her lonesome. Oh, thank you.
Aww.
It was so cute. It was like really precious to see, but I think about it, and that was one of the things that drove me to begin with to get a security system when I had just, the dogs and the cats. When I'm not home, I like to make sure, like, for instance, this is something that's been happening lately. Orion has decided that his bladder no longer needs to be the motivator. He will just now break out of the crate. And the other day, I forgot where I was. But I checked the crate because Starman was on his way home. And I went and looked at the camera, because one of the days I was in Charlotte, he broke out and he had dookied everywhere. Okay. There was poo-poo in all parts of the house. Okay. So that's what I was prepared for. And I thought, oh, honey, he's been broken out. He just broke out. And then I looked back on the camera. I had left the house at that day 9:40. He broke out by 11:20.
Yeah, my German Shepherd would do that.
And then he just walked around the house. He went and stared at the Trump flag for a while. He went and slept on the tea chair. And the problem with this is Starman didn't get home until 5:30. And now, since then, he's broke out 2 more times. Just 'cause. And poor Greta sits her little ass in that crate. She doesn't even try to get out. And whenever I walk in, she's always sitting there like
I was here.
just a little. I just wanted to get out too. It was so bad. So I always wonder about, like, that's one of the reasons why the dogs stay crated, is because if I'm not home. Is because if a police officer came up to my house and they perceive him as a threat, my dog is gone.
Yeah. I'd still rather them be able to escape out the back since I have the dog door. I feel better in a lot of ways knowing they have a method of escape and a place to go.
Right. See, I can't trust Orion to have that. It's that freedom. I just can't, because I know he would quite abuse said freedom. Be like, what happened to Orion? Oh, he just, made a bolt for it again. Out the door he went.
Realistically, I wouldn't mind building just like a smaller area up against the house for the dogs so that they had that much narrow area to go into with a covering on it. Because, oh my God, Grace is such a little fucking princess. If it's wet out, she does not want to go outside to go to the bathroom. She will go outside, and we have these stone steps we built up to the back door. Yep. She will poop on the steps.
You know what's crazy? My dogs are such princesses, they will just hold it now. That's great. And so I don't find that out until the middle of the night. I hear, and they've already shit the crate. So I'm in agreement with you. I plan on doing a very similar thing for Orion and Greta because whatchamacallit, I am so damn tired.
Yeah, thankfully, if they're whining, that means they have to go, not that they have gone.
I wish. No, I am not so blessed. Typically, the whine is because, now, sometimes I do get lucky. I won't lie. Sometimes I get very, very lucky, and Greta hasn't quite done it yet. But typically, the whine is because someone's already made a boom boom on the rug. And now I gotta go clean up the boom boom. Yes, Nova. Ma'am.
Yeah, in our case, it's typically right as we're going to bed, Sheep will run Rudy outside and try to get him to go to the bathroom. Then he'll come up to bed and he'll lock Rudy and Grace in the kennel, because those two you have to lock up, because if you don't lock them up, then about 7:30 in the morning they start barking. And Sophie and Sydney won't bark, or if they do, they don't do it quite as obnoxiously as Rudy and Grace will. Grace was hoarse for like 3 weeks because of the neighbors, the new neighbors, because she would not stop barking at them. But now I found these really nice electric collars that fit on all 3 of them. So this one collar that I found fits a size from a 5-pound dog to a 20-pound dog.
Nice.
And they've been working really well. Sydney isn't absolutely terrified out of his mind about it, which is also nice. It's funny, though, because for him, if you so much as beep his collar, that's enough. You don't have to do anything else. The beep is enough.
He's like, no. You know what? I'm good. See, I wish that was with Orion. I wish.
You beep anybody else's collar, it's the same thing. But you almost feel bad because another dog's in trouble and he's upset because he heard the beep.
And here's the funniest part. Greta has never once had an electric collar. But because Orion's gotten the 1-2 so many times, guess who sits by number 2? She's like, I understood that assignment.
No, they get one beep, then they get a vibrate. I haven't had to zap them yet, though.
Just wait, the night is young. There we go. Well, the day is young, I should say, if you will.
Yeah, Grace will sometimes use pads. She can be very fickle. She likes rugs in general.
Oh, soft surfaces. Gotcha. We live in a flat, so we had to get puppy pads and train Sasha to use it when she had to pee in the middle of the night. Worked well. Well, Orion is a bigger dog. Orion's just an asshole.
Hi, McCracken. How you doing, man?
Hello. Don't mind me. I'm having to put extra details on this piece.
That's fine.
But yeah, I thought that'd be an interesting conversation to have. I thought it was something cool to talk about.
Well, it's a good conversation. It's a good thing for people to think about. You know, what are we going to do in these situations? A lot of people may not think about how difficult it could be to get their animals wrangled into the car in the event of an evacuation.
Well, because I mean, at the same time, how often are you really thinking about it? Most people don't like to think about disaster.
No.
For lack of a better phrase, people don't want to think about what's gonna go wrong. They want to think about all things that are gonna go right, which is nice. Again, in a vacuum. That's what I was trying to say earlier. In a vacuum. But, well, I mean, Moon was here. She saw how they are. She saw how the puppers act. Sometimes it was great. And sometimes they were pains in the ass. The pains in the ass happens more often than anything.
Almost just about all the time.
Just about. But I have a big fenced yard. So do I.
But I have a reasonably fenced-in yard. I mean, it's not the biggest yard, but it's good enough for 5 dogs.
Mine's good enough for 2. They just, because it's overgrown right now, it's not really living up to its potential. They really need to work on that.
I mean, they don't even have access to the full yard, so like they're missing a chunk of it with my garden beds, and then they can't get into the side yards. But the general yard space is plenty of them to run around and bark at shit.
Let me see. Then there was some cool stuff. I didn't send her quite as much this week, but what I did send her was really cool.
Oh, you saw a Detroit deer? Awesome.
Is there like a special breed?
I think it might just be a deer in Detroit. I mean,
deer. So I hope this. I don't think it has sound.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll never forget the day I was on 10th Avenue here in town, and fucking full point, like I swear it had to be like a 6-point fucking buck, comes bouncing through the parking lot of PetSmart, and he's across the busy intersection on his way to fucking dollar store.
See, for me,
headed
right
downtown
now, where we live, all of the motherfuckers horny as hell. And
that time of year, yeah.
Oh yeah. And the other day, I had a conniption. Or was it even yesterday? All I know is that we were driving. Yeah, because I had to drive Starman to work. And as we're driving, on the side of the road was this giant ass doe. Thankfully, my heart attack wasn't full because she was facing away from the road. And I was like, "Did you even see her?" He's like, "No, I didn't see her." I'm like, "Oh, that's even worse." I hate when he says, "I didn't notice what it was." No, you need to, sir. You need to.
Yeah. Sun starts going down out here, and I'm like, okay, honey, you got to start watching the sides of the road for the deer.
I watch all year long because, sadly, again, I live out where the banjos play, so there's never a time we're quite safe from them.
It's funny because during hunting season, you'll actually find them closer to the roads. It's like they know the hunters can't shoot them from the road.
See, the problem is if it's on their private property. I have a guy, literally, down my street. He owns all the property across from this big field. And whenever it's hunting season, he parks his truck right at the entrance. We always know he out there in his woods. And so it's like,
Yeah, but he can shoot them on his land, but he can't shoot them from the road.
right.
Or in that area, the easement between the road and his land. That is a safe area, and it's like the deer know.
Oh, they probably do. I wouldn't put it past them. Me personally, going on the subject of deer, I am more mad that we haven't developed natural bridges yet. Like, just as a rule.
I mean, they're out there. The problem is you can't guarantee they're going to use them.
Right. I don't disagree on that front, but I feel like the thing is, whenever they've installed natural bridges, accidents go down. Because for me, it isn't even a matter of saving the deer at that point. Although that is part of it. For me, it's a matter of I would much rather give all those animals the chance for my bumper to not cave in.
I just don't want to hit them because I don't want to pay for them. I mean, you can, but if the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks or the cops catch you, good luck.
Oh,
just saying.
They care. Like in this town, they probably wouldn't give a shit. I mean, they barely gave a shit about cats.
They are so uptight up here. I mean, the whole state, they're very uptight about that.
Sadly, where I live, there's a lot the things they are uptight about are wacky wavemen outside of business on a Saturday. Yeah, they will toss out the fines like there's nobody's business. You're operating a food truck and you're not near a commissary. You don't park it that night. Oh, you're going to pass them out.
People wonder why I hate government.
Yeah, but it's the shit they don't care about. But the shit they don't care about, they really don't fucking care about. Like, I mean, okay, I'm not going to name names, but I can tell you right now, I know of at least 3 people who haven't registered their car in 4 years and have driven in front of cops. I can tell you every single month there are paper plates that have completely worn out. They don't care. There are people who have handed me licenses to do financing, and they're expired. And we're not talking like a couple of months. We're talking a couple of decades.
Yeah, you don't get away with that up here. They don't like that. I did hear about the RFK Bear story. Yes, I've heard about it. I haven't heard the whole thing.
Wait, with Rosie O'Donnell? Not Rosie O'Donnell.
Roseanne Barr.
Roseanne Barr. She said it was just an off-the-cuff thing. They were just talking.
Still, I mean, you kill a bear and put it in Central Park to make it look like it was killed by a bicycle?
See, I didn't get to the end of the actual story. I was like...
I don't think he killed I don't believe he killed the bear, but he had somehow, for some reason, he had a dead bear cub.
Oh.
And he put it in Central Park and made it look like it had been hit by a bicycle.
Well, here's what I will say. Number one, controversial probably. I can't listen to that man talk ever since he had whatever happened to him. He's like, I'm like, oh God, please.
You mean the brainworm?
Whatever the fuck it is. Ever since then, listening to him talk is like listening to the stuttering version of Biden. I can't fucking do it. And it's like, I get that he is probably very competent, but that alone makes me not able to listen to him because I'd be like, I never want to listen to a single address the president made. But that is as social suicide as what's her name talking about the dog she shot because it ate some chickens. It's the same level of social suicide. You know what? It may have happened, and it may have been an accident. This isn't a story you tell with cameras in front of you or in a book.
Well, he says he said something like he was just getting ahead of it or something, like he expected it to come out, or I don't know. And honestly, of all the dumb things a politician has done, as long as he didn't kill the bear himself, I'm not sure I care.
I don't necessarily worry one way or another.
So I have to ask the question: where did he get a dead bear cub?
Yeah, in the middle. He said in New York City.
Yeah, he put it in Central Park.
I mean, I actually know where. Bear Mountain, which is only an hour outside of New York City.
Okay.
It, I will take, because I drove Bear Mountain, and it gets the name for a reason.
Did you just find it there?
I don't know, but then again, the question bears questioning. Why didn't you just throw it off the side of the mountain?
Because he thought it'd be funny.
Oh, he did it on. Oh, okay.
No, this is one on purpose thing. Yeah, he took the dead bear cub, which I'm not sure how he sourced, and took it to Central Park.
We're not quite sure where he gets his bear cubs from. Sometimes they are live, sometimes they are stiff.
And then he took it to Central Park and made it look like it was hit by a bicycle and hit and killed by a bicycle. So maybe he hit it with his car?
I think there is a very real possibility. I don't. When's the last time you went to New York City?
Never.
Okay.
Well, I take that back. I was in one of the airports once when I was like 2.
Okay. So I will say this. You go from extremely wooded area to New York very quickly. So it is easy to find, because you go from very mountainy New York, Jersey areas to the city very quickly. But all right, so have I told the Fluffy story?
I don't think so.
Okay. So this reminds me, this harkens back. My father had a friend named Dee Dee. Okay. And Dee Dee was a quirky man.
He was called Didi for one. That would be a very quirky man.
You have to know Italians. It was very common. So call him like Jojo Didi, things like that. Very, very, that's not unusual. Okay. So now, mind you, they were full-grown adults by this time. We're talking 20s. It's Rhode Island. It's the winter. And my dad's friend told him to meet him because he found something cool. Okay. So they went down to the gas station or the source. And I'm obviously my dad tells the story a little bit better, but
it's a story. Makes sense.
He meets him there. He sees his friend sitting on the convenience store, and he's got a rope in his hand. And tied to the other end of this rope is a very frozen, very dead cat. And it is frozen. You ever seen the Halloween cats where they're puffed up like this and their hair's up? It was in a perfect like that. And my dad's like, your cat's dead. Not his cat, mind you. He found it. He's like, I know. And he's like, why do you have a frozen cat? He's like, gonna see what happens. So he's sitting there, and this woman, as if on cue, is walking into the convenience store, and she looks down at the cat. And she looks at Dee Dee, and she goes, dear, I don't mean to bother you, but I think something's wrong with your cat. And Dee Dee looks down and says, Fluffy? And he tugs the rope, and Fluffy went and fell down. And Dee Dee went, Fluffy! And he just starts screaming and crying. He falls to his knees. He's screaming to the heavens. And my dad said, I can't witness this. He walks away. And this woman is trying to comfort him. She's like, oh, honey. He's like, oh, my cat. I don't know what happened. So Dee Dee kept pulling this prank on people for like 2 days. And my dad's like, sir, you need help. Now, granted, Dee Dee did not kill this cat. Dee Dee just merely found this cat. So Dee Dee, again, this is the middle
and reenacted its death.
And reenacted its death. Well, Dee Dee didn't want, like I said, this happened for several days. So take a guess. You'll never guess where he stored Fluffy. See, again, this was in the projects in Rhode Island.
I would assume in the freezer.
God, no. Number one, many houses didn't have freezers then. He would go out into the clothing line, okay, where his mother's laundry was. And he put the cat there so it stayed cold. He didn't tell his mom there's a surprise on the clothing line. So imagine her delight when the next morning she pulled in the laundry and there's a dead cat staring at her. So this is like, I know people who would find this funny.
Yeah.
Because I know the people that will pull pranks like this. Now, that being said, this was, he found the cat behind the gas station / convenience store and walked to the front of the convenience store. I don't think Dee Dee would have said, I'm going to take this cat an hour from here. I'm going to sneak it into the park. I'm going to find a bike and I'm going to put the bike crash.
And you see, I think that's part of it for me. This all hinges on if he killed the bear or not.
But even if he killed the bear, my point is, it's the transport of the carcass. It's not even the sourcing at this point. It's the transportation.
And you see, for me, he's a politician's kid because he's a Kennedy. So it's not like we're talking about normal people here. So they're going to have these much weirder, grander ideas because they know they've been able to get away with this kind of shit for a long time. I would bet somewhere in that family there is a joke far worse and they actually killed some.
Yeah,
oh wait,
Marilyn
they
Monroe.
actually have. So yeah, there's plenty of things that family's already killed. I'm sure of it.
There's the woman.
There's at least 2 women I could think of right off the top of my head. I mean, 3. Yeah, there. I mean, I remember the one about the driving off the bridge, and I think that was RF.
That's the one I didn't know. I know the one on the escalator. I know the one that hit the tree, and I know of Marilyn. So there's 4.
So see, there's plenty of dead things already. If he found a dead bear, I can actually very easily see him thinking, this will be hilarious, and driving into town with it.
Especially if he was, again, under the age of 25, which, again, he was.
Because men will do that stuff, and I don't begrudge them that, and especially younger men will do that kind of stuff. And even if he hit it with his car, I could see him going, you know what? I have a dead bear now. This will be hilarious.
I have a dead. You put it that way, and again, I laugh at the Dee Dee story myself because it's not so much that there's a dead cat; it's it's that moment for me.
Yeah.
But if you're not again, this is the other part of it. If you're not there to witness anybody, what's the funny part? No one's going to write a story about a dead bear.
You bet they wouldn't. You want to make bets they wouldn't write a story about a dead bear in the newspaper?
But they didn't.
Are you sure?
No one heard about it until he said it.
Someone must have, because he said it to get ahead of it.
Oh no, I guess so. Because I will tell you right now, never in all my years have we heard about the mystery cub of 1979 or some shit like that.
Well, to be fair, it was 1979. Information didn't get around the same way it does now.
Did I guess it right? Was that the year it happened?
I don't know. I guess. I just assumed. I mean, but when he would have been doing this, information wasn't getting around the same way. So it's very, very likely, he probably put it in Central Park knowing that he would hear about it in his circles. And then he could sit back and giggle at it while people talked about the bear cub that was killed by a bicycle in Central Park.
Like, well, I know what really killed it. Yeah,
I know what happened. And you see, I can easily see that being a thing.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all because I could easily see that being a thing as well. I don't know. I guess for me, and
Cat in Philly says there were articles about it. So what?
Something just hit the wall. That's to the dog yard.
Is it a hornet?
No, a little too heavy.
Oh, okay.
You can tell when it's the hornet because you hear the clicky clacking of glass. Also, someone tried to say it wasn't a European hornet, and I'm like, literally, it's called Google. Look up. You can clearly see the abdomen in the whatchamacallit, in the video I took.
Mm-hmm.
Just look up the abdomen or the thorax. I don't know. The ass of the bee. They have a nearly identical thing. So there were articles. Cat in Philly. What year did it happen? Because this is first time hearing about it, but I'm not from New York. So,
and it was probably before our time. I mean, honestly, it probably happened before either of us were born.
Agreed. But it's like the blizzard of 78 happened before my time, but no one ever fucking shuts up about it.
But that's a blizzard. That affected more than just a couple people.
I'm just saying, there's some of those things, those events where it's like a mystery and everyone wants to know about it. So I was just saying, it might be along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of those things that it's easy for somebody to miss. I mean, especially if you're not talking to the people who knew or read the articles about the dead bear cub in Central Park.
So then I guess my other question is this. Do you really care about this at the end of the day?
I'm not voting for him, so I don't care.
Right. Like, I mean, I was never going to begin with. And especially, again, like I said, I just imagine listening to him do a speech with that. I can't.
You see, for me, the thing that would make me care about it is if he purposely went out of his way to maliciously kill the bear cub.
Right.
That would make me care.
Right. I agree.
Anything else, I don't give a fuck.
I don't.
Other than it's kind of funny.
I don't disagree on that at all. Like, if it was on purpose, I think no matter who it is. But again, I go back to, I don't understand why it would get out. Because if it got out, that means everyone already knew ahead of time that he did it. This was in 2014.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, no, I definitely haven't heard about it. But again, and that means people already knew he did it. So I don't know.
Graphic pic shows JFK or RFK Jr. posing with the bear cub.
With it.
He's got his hand. Oh my god.
Is it bad?
He's 70 years old in this picture.
Wait, how old is RFK Jr.? I thought he was much younger than the guys.
No, he's not that much younger. Let's see here.
See, I thought just like the rest of the Kennedys, like.
Oh no, he's 70 years old now.
Oh, okay.
So okay, then that reads weird, because Kennedy 70 could be seen with a pained grimace on his face as he held the cub's head up against him with the creature's bloody teeth pressed against his hand. So, if this happened in 2014, but he's 70 now, that doesn't make sense. So that's a weird sentence.
Written article.
Okay, so he's claiming that the bear was hit by a woman driving in front of him during an outing in upstate New York.
Yeah, Bear Mountain, I knew it.
And maybe that's where I got my brainworm, he said, referring to the parasite that ate part of his brain before dying inside his head decades ago. I mean, it could be. But wait, now I'm confused.
Sweet, then when did the bear die?
Well, it would have died. I mean, it would have been in 2014, I guess.
But he said decades ago. That wasn't even a decade ago. It was just now a decade.
Kennedy confessed to being the culprit behind the dead bear cub found in Central Park a decade ago. So it was a decade ago for the bear cub, anyway. During a puzzling interview with Roseanne Barr on Sunday.
Well, the brainworm certainly couldn't have been the culprit. But I mean, the brainworm might have been the culprit of why he thought it was funny to do.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense.
Because I was thinking, like, young kid. This is not young. That's not starved to death. I don't trust that guy at all.
The Kennedy scion revealed that he picked up the dead bear cub with plans to skin the animal and store its meat, which honestly, you really want to test that meat before you eat it. But a meeting that day prevented him from carrying out the plan. Instead, he decided to dump the bear cub in Central Park and stage the scene to make it seem like the animal was hit and killed by a cyclist because he thought it would be funny. So I am right. I was just wrong about the time frame.
That's like, my God, sir. Sir, there are better ways.
So it was a mystery. No one knew he did it until he confessed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no one knew.
Why?
There was no reason for him to say this. There's nothing to get out ahead.
That is so weird. I mean, he did have a brainworm, though. Maybe that's the problem.
The brainworm messed with his ideas? I don't know. I'm just saying. Like, nothing about that makes much sense to me. It just doesn't.
RFK may have faced a $250 fine for dumping the bear cub in Central Park if the statute of limitations hadn't expired.
Yeah, a couple of years ago now. So I'm like,
oh my God.
This definitely sounds like the brainworm might have still been alive at the time.
Yeah.
Word gets out, he's cooked. Word gets out. He put it out. He's the one who put the word out.
He's the one who talked about it. And if it happened when he did this when he was 60 years old, people.
Like, I thought this was like I was a young kid, I was being... No, this was like, I was retired and the brain...
Someone knew something and he knew an article was coming. I think maybe, but still, I mean,
I don't know.
wow.
Right? Like, I don't know, dude. This is fucking weird.
How he thought it would be. I can actually understand why he thought it would be funny. I mean, the idea of a bear cub being killed by being hit by a bike is absurd on its face.
Right. I do see, like, again,
I can understand the
dark
humor.
comedy person to begin with to find anything with death funny, which,
That's true.
start with that. You have to enjoy dark comedy, okay? So start that line of it, and it helps you work your way through. But then what you have to also just take into account is that this man, no one knew it was him. No one knew it was him. He took it upon himself to be like, yeah.
To just blurt it out and tell Roseanne.
You can see Roseanne was kind of like, okay.
She was very, what the fuck am I hearing?
And this is Roseanne Barr. I mean, okay,
yeah,
and extraordinaire, and she's like, why are you telling me this? Like, why are you letting me in on this secret? This is not a secret I needed to know.
It was an expression I haven't seen on her face since the Roseanne show. So
I like how they wrote, this is very 2024. Yeah. This year has been wild as just a year. Plain and simple. I don't know how to handle this year. I'll be the first to say it. This shit
just insanity. You know what? I've decided on how I'm going to handle the year. I am going to continue shit posting. I'm going to continue posting hot pictures of women in various fantasy art. I am going to post pictures of cute animals. I'm going to continue shit talking the government, and I'm going to live my life because that's the only thing I can fucking control. The rest of it's beyond my abilities.
And fun fact, she gets most of that from me. Just reposting me. It's great.
I can repost whoever I want. It's fantastic.
That's amazing. It's just shit just throws me off, man. Literally.
No, we're nowhere near done yet. We're over the halfway mark, but we're not too. I mean, this
moon.
This year is going to continue ramping up all the way to election, and then probably after.
Yeah, I will say this, guys. Strap in because we are not even nearly done yet. Because
I agree with Kat. Buy ammo. I would like to start buying 1 box of ammo every month.
I need to start getting up on my own little, need to start popping up on that. Did I grab the wrong fucking color? I don't think
I can't see the markers.
Oh, I'm,
nice.
I'm shading the beastly face. These are not my characters. These are gifts for other artists who have been supporting me. And I tried to get as many artists as I could before I work on to art for friends. And some of my artists don't have original characters. It's difficult.
How do you not have them? I probably have 10 in my head alone.
I'm saying, like, it's very... And more than likely one of them, she literally said cry harder about it. And I said, damn you for not having original characters. She said cry harder. I said, fuck you. How dare you? But it's just, some people don't have that spark to make characters. I literally can't help but make characters. Like, it's very odd.
Yeah. Some people can't do the creative step, but they can do the visualization.
Exactly.
That way.
Me personally, and again, a lot of the syndrome, I can't stand doing the fan art. This is an old conversation I have. I just don't need to beat that horse today. But, whatchamacallit.
Or that bear cub.
And what an ironic thing. He's based on a bear. I was like, I summoned this conversation somehow.
Someone mentioned it in the chat. So
right, it's like somehow I summoned it through there, like me coloring him. No one knew, but I brought it to life. No, but I just again, for me, I agree with you tenfold. If it somehow came out that he himself had killed the bear,
maliciously. Like, if he hit it with the car, okay, I get it. Accidents happen.
Right. But if he intended to go out and kill the bear and then he's like, what can I do with it now?
Yeah.
You know, and
I'm
again,
going to kill this bear cub specifically to put it in Central Park.
right. Like, how graphic are the photos?
Not very. It's just the bloody mouth of a bear on his hand.
It's more sad that it's a poor little baby bear. But
So,
it's just,
though, I mean, obviously someone else knows about it because somebody took that picture. He did not take that picture himself.
so there's no way he set up a tripod or anything. Somebody was there with him.
Not unless he's running around with a tripod. Maybe he
running
is.
around with a dead bear. What else is it?
You know, it's entirely possible he found he watched the lady hit the bear with the car, and then he put the bear in his car, drove to Central Park, set up a tripod, took a picture of the bear pretending the bear bit his hand, took down the tripod, set up the bear, and then
you know what? You make it sound like it might be implausible. I think that could very well be the case. Seriously.
I mean, it could happen. I think it's more likely he had somebody with him.
Not impossible either. You are correct. Correct. I could see killing an adult bear for sport, but not a cub. I don't like killing for sport in the first place. I find it very, for lack of a better term, yucky. I find it if you're hunting for food, totally get it. I don't understand hunting for the pelt. I don't understand hunting to...
Having been cold, I can understand hunting for the pelt.
No. I mean hunting for the pelt to stuff it and mount it kind of situation.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not talking like, hey, I really like beaver coats because they're warm. I'm talking, oh, you just wanted to mount a dead beaver. Cool. Like, it's just that kind of stuff doesn't resonate with me. I don't understand it. I don't jive with it. And
Bucky doesn't appreciate that.
Huh?
Bucky doesn't appreciate that.
Poor Bucky. He likes being in metal. Oh, but that's different. Listen.
No, I just figured it would be funny to pull out the beaver head since you mentioned beavers.
You got our box of dead things, guy.
Currently taking donations for $70. I will automatically go and buy myself a box of dead things. Just
Grizzly
saying.
Bears are nasty. Black bears are chill. See, now actually, they have said you are more likely to be attacked by a black bear than a grizzly bear.
I don't know who said that because you definitely get attacked by more grizzlies up here.
A bear expert. He said that the only time you'll see grizzlies attack you because black bears are more apt to be near people. So black bears are more apt to expect more from people and get frustrated by people. So they are more apt to actually attack you. Whereas grizzlies, they will only attack if they feel you're in their territory but 9 times out of 10, they are going to want to not have to bother with you. They're more apt to leave the situation. But black bears have been too humanized. They will just walk right up to you and be like, it's mine, bitch. And they say that that's the biggest problem they have. That's the big problem that everyone has right now with them, is that these animals are more like, ha ha ha, you're mine. This is all mine. People get dumb around black bears because they are too chill. The thing is like, again, what we all have to remember is that animals are opportunistic and they're not friendly and or chill technically. What they are is animals that just don't care about your presence, and you don't want to give them a reason to.
You do metastep, especially in areas where people have a tendency to feed the bears, or bears find a lot of human food. If they can't get the food they want, then you will run into somewhat more of a problem.
Right, because the thing is, no matter how chill the bear is, if the bear wants what you have, and you don't...
The bear's going to fucking get it.
The bear's going to fucking get it. And that's the biggest problem that you're running into. It's not even just so much of people getting too comfortable. It's people not willing to give up their food, which I don't blame them. No, I don't want you, eating my food. I spent my money on it. And the bear is going to be like, well, isn't that just too fucking bad? And that's how it usually ends up going. Me personally, I'm just not in the mood to be anywhere where the bear needs to feel that from me. And as a matter of fact, like when we went to Gatlinburg, that was something they kept warning us. They're like, understand this. There are bears. They said, you want to go out late at night? That's fine. you're going to run into bears. They say you want to have your car broken into, leave food in it. You want to have your cabin broken into, don't lock your doors and leave food out. They said that's how you're going to get broken into.
No, Abu, I would much rather run into a man than a bear in the woods because I'm not an idiot.
I don't want to run into any people. We've already had this conversation. See, that's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, it's a man or a bear. I don't trust people. Because if someone else is out in the woods alone with me, why? What are you doing here?
What am I doing out alone in the woods at that point? That's
I know why I'm out alone in the woods. I don't trust them.
Really? You son of a bitch.
It's a black cat thing.
Fucking black cat.
One of the last we always had problems with tourists feeding bears fast food. The biggest problem we have today, and this is actually...
Hey, Grant!
We can hear you, at least.
Oh, yeah. No, he decided to walk through the loop here.
Of course.
Instead of walking...
Gregory.
What about Man Bear Pig? Man Bear Pig's totally real.
I don't even know what that is.
South Park.
Oh, okay. But it's a matter of, I would sit there and say to myself, how is it I suddenly ran into a random person here out in the middle of nowhere? I don't trust this motherfucker. I don't care, female, male, hell, even child. You know what I'm going to think the child is? A setup for a gang. I'm going to set up
in the middle of the woods?
Yes. Or
you spent way too much time in urban. You spend way too much time in urban settings.
I just don't trust anything. That's why I live out in the middle of the woods.
I would prefer to run into the bear just because there's a chance I can talk a person out of killing me. If that bear decides I'm dead, I'm fucked.
I'm in the habit of just not giving them any reason whatsoever. I like to thankfully, I know that I'm never going to have this problem. You know why I know I'm never going to have this problem? My fat ass don't go out into the woods.
Says the person who wants to go to Yellowstone.
That's different. There's a path.
It's not.
There's a path. And you can get in the car.
You're a child. You think it's a path.
There's a path. Animals don't go on the path. There are people that believe this shit. There are people that believe that shit.
They don't go
the... Imagine. As a man, a child in the woods is scary shit. Right!
I mean, I can agree with that. A child in the woods would be fucked up. Especially Annie, the black-eyed children. Yeah, if you've seen that lore, ooh, that'll freak you out.
I'm so good. I don't need to know about none of that.
Vincent, what the fuck did you do to this thing?
He rubbed it. You're welcome.
Yeah, he fucked it up. I don't know how.
The cat fucked something up? Perish the thought.
I know, crazy, right? You can scare a grizzly away too. I don't recommend playing with either one.
Yeah, I'm not exactly. No, you know what? Here's what I will tell you. I will pick any bear in the woods. You know why? Because none of the bears in the woods will ever be a polar bear. That is the one where they said guaranteed, no matter what, if a polar bear is near you, you're already fucked. Because polar bears are the only bear that actively hunts humans. It is the only one. They said, so if a polar bear is approaching you, that's because it's already decided you're delicious and far more delicious than a walrus or a seal. So.
They're approximately the same size. So.
And Metastep, how do you know? I'm the one watching Nova. How did you watch Nova?
I don't think he needs your cat.
I know. How fucking dare you?
A lot of people don't remember Nova. Nova was a good show. I also liked Connections. Connections was fantastic.
This all sounds like shit that I've never seen.
It was on PBS.
Oh, that's definitely, I've never seen it. Couldn't get PBS in the rest of the house. You can get it in mom and dad's room. And I couldn't watch a lot of that shit half the time.
You see, the fun thing about Connections is they would take two things that didn't seem like they were related at all.
And connect them.
Yeah, right? It's really fun.
I couldn't help it the way you were saying. I was like, let me guess.
Panda bears are just retarded. So there's that. But they are vicious. I wouldn't recommend playing with one of those either.
They actually have said that despite the fact that panda bears are kind of like nerfed by their own idiocy, you don't want to test those waters.
Sun bears and sloth bears are competing for second place.
I take it back. Not just polar bears, a sun bear or a sloth bear too. But that's because they have spent their lives being chased by fucking tigers. I would be a psycho too. Okay? I would be a psychopath too if I had to live in. Have you seen their faces?
You're so
cute. You know what's funny? You not when they're like when they look like the fucking alien monster when they got the lips all going out of the way. No, what's funny is I forget which zoo it was. There was a zoo that painted, I think it was a sun bear to look like a panda.
Yeah.
They got in trouble for that.
Koala bears are hilarious wet, though. They go from being these cute, cuddly-looking things to this absolute nightmare.
Honestly, I think we all know what we fear the most. The blue whale.
Yes. Yes. And the sound.
I think it's time we all just came to our own realization on the fact that the dangers of it. Do you know that every year 14 people get eaten whole by blue whales?
Hi, Cavatino.
Hello, Cavatino. It is true. Don't look at the stats. Just trust me on this. They are avid hunters. As the largest animal in the ocean, you have to understand that their predatory speed is unmatched because you won't even see them coming. They have invisibility, all right? And you don't even have to see them coming. You hear them coming because the sound. Called the Great Blue Ninjas. They are unmatched. You think the Megalodon was terrifying. You think the Leviathan was you have seen nothing.
Like bears are so much easier because you will always see them coming.
Was one of them Jonah? Wait, did Rachel miss last week?
I think she might have.
Oh, God. Or a woodcarver and his puppet. Well, I will say that much of these death statistics do come from Trust Me Bro University, from Pinocchio. But
the last thing I want is my pets being able to yell at me in English to feed them.
That was something, okay? That was something. There was this thing. You had to pick two. And it was $8,000. So you could inherit a 500-acre farm. You could grow anything. $8,000 a week for life. Travel anywhere. Like you can just immediately transport anywhere. Or talk to animals. You had to pick two.
Can I already talk to the animals?
Like we're talking English.
I don't need that.
2 little levels.
I don't need that in my life.
So here's the thing. I'm torn. Because the person that did the video made a very valid point. Dolphins have seen shit. And if you want to be a treasure hunter, imagine talking to the deep sea animals. Where exactly did that boat fall? You saw this? Where was this?
But what about when the dolphins want to rape you?
That's why you don't get in the water. Dolphin cannot aggressively snuggle you if you are not in their territory. They jump up. You're king. Now the tables are turned. I'm doing it for you, motherfucker. You wanted it. You gonna get it. Come on, Carly. You about to get tuna canned. I might. All right. So, you know what? You were the one who introduced it. You fill her in on what I'm talking about.
Oh, Rachel, last week we watched a fish biologist listen to Hassan Piker talk about his fear of the deep and the fact that the thing he fears the most in the ocean is the blue whale.
And he said, you can't even see them coming. They're invisible. They're invisible.
And the sound.
And their sound will kill you. The greatest predator in the ocean. What I'm shocked is that he said blue whale, not whale shark. How did he? I thought the whale shark would be the one that he'd fear more. I really did. I was waiting with the fucking blue whale. And that's why, again, 14 people lose their lives to blue whales every year. And what I wished so bad that someone had sent Hassan the videos of humpback whales accidentally swallowing kayakers. Just to see him just lose his shit. Can you imagine him pissing himself on screen? Just seeing that. We'd never have to worry about him traveling by boat ever again.
I'm not particularly worried about it as is. He was so upset when he went to Mexico, and they actually taxed him for all of his equipment.
Welcome to another country, bitch.
Which is hilarious because he likes to wear tax the rich shirts. Well, fucker, what do you think you are?
Use the rich. Use the rich, bitch. No, that's the funniest thing. And people don't realize how many of these liberals. That's why I get a really big kick out of it. Now, granted, we all saw the ugly side of Republicans the other day, and I know we don't want to talk about politics too much. I will be talking about it tomorrow. What happened with Rittenhouse?
Retarded. So ultimately retarded.
Literally the most brain dead thing I have witnessed my own people do in a very long time. But it's why I cannot fathom agreeing with leftists, because all the people that they laud as their leaders are the antithesis of everything that they hate. Like, you are the pinnacle of a rich, privileged, white passing person.
Or you are just a white person.
Just a white person. You have an exotic name, so you get a pass. My dude.
Just call them elephants and donkeys, and then they fits with the show.
That works. That's true. That's very true. Vibrating collars.
I mean, my dogs do have vibrating collars.
Not those kinds.
No, not those kinds.
I heard he hit it with his car. See, now Di listens to this kind of stuff, so she she pays attention. But so, when did you hear about it, Di? Did you hear about it when it happened or now?
Oh no, she wouldn't have heard about it when it happened because it didn't come. Well, I mean, she might have heard about the bear.
No, we're from New England. I mean, and Di paid attention to the news way more than I did.
Yeah.
So it would have been more apt to have been spread about then. Frankly, all right.
My own people, Catholics, Italians, East Coasters, American. Specify, woman.
Listen. I have multiple peoples, all right? I belong to many ethnicities.
They all live in her head.
Listen. No, I'm telling them, listen. Not talking to you right now, yeah? No, there's no greater fear than the blue whale. We should make a shirt about that.
Oh my god, that'd be hilarious. Fear the whale.
Just have this blue whale coming out of the water with a knife.
No, it has to be a speakerphone because of the sound.
It's true. A little speakerphone. The voices. Somebody, Chaco, remind me about this. I know you're gonna watch it. Remind me about this. No one suspects the blue whale. I just can see it now. It's just insane. It's insane. And again, he is like the pinnacle. And he is what I find hilarious. They've got video of him openly mocking self-deletion people.
Mm-hmm.
Openly mocking trans people. And I just don't understand how he is still allowed. Although, you know who fell off the face of the earth? Bosch. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I get the feeling he'll be back before too long, though. I mean, Destiny's managed to keep going.
I don't know how that man able to stay on anything. I was like, it's free speech. It's free speech. Yeah, okay. He's still an asshole.
I don't want to listen to him. He can speak all he wants. That doesn't mean I have to listen.
Right. There's a difference. I cannot find this fucking marker that I'm trying to find.
Though he did get owned by the redhead libertarian on Piers Morgan.
That girl.
Great.
I didn't get to see it, but I know that girl is a spitfire, so I believe it. Not everyone gains the skills of Wells Fargo cat wrangling granny. There was a video, okay? There was a video on Instagram. The guy that says white lady comedy, you know, the ones, get yourself a white woman. And
You hear that, sheep?
there was a video he posted. It was a little black boy. And he got out of his Tonka truck. And he says to his mom, I found a white girl.
That's great.
And she's just coming out with a little sippy pop, curling her hair. They're like all of 4 years old.
Oh,
And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is too soon. You got to be careful. You can't get you a white woman yet. He's like, I can pull up if you want. It was hilarious. He's like, you need to make sure you got a house and your own car and you got money saved up, because before you know it, she's going to be popping down on the side of the road. There's going to be 10 dogs there. She's going to put them in the back and go, we got to take them home. He said, you have to have the money to pay for all that dog food. He's like, white women are crazy, but they're expensive. And I was like, shit. And my husband loved to share him to me. I can't imagine why. I don't know.
No, I've already asked Sheep if I die if he'll take care of my pets. So.
Oh, Matt doesn't have a choice. He knows I'll come back and get him. It's definitely, you know, that is the biggest fear I have, though, that I die before any of these can get taken care of. So it's like, I don't know what the age is yet, but there is going to be a cutoff for me where I'm just simply not going to take any more on.
Mm-hmm.
And I will actively choose to damage my mental well-being, because I can tell you right now, the day that Starson has no pets, I ain't going to be okay. I know my vices, I know my shortcomings, and I can tell you right now, one of them is that I have to have animals in my life. And so I'm done with all of them, though. I'm done with white girls. I'm done with all of them, though.
I can't blame you. I also am done with women.
Hey.
You don't count.
Thank you for validating my identity. I feel so invalidated. No. But thank God Penny just moved, so I just got to do this. She, of course, moved right as I was fixing the markers.
Mm-hmm.
And if any of you work with alcohol markers, you know that you've only got a finite amount of time before they claim it stays wet. It's a fucking lie. And I have to make sure that I get just the right stuff.
Yeah, no, don't. I've never worked with alcohol markers.
If you're going to, Moon asked me this question when she was here, and I told her, and I tell you all the same thing. Do not waste your money on Arteza, and don't even think about getting the Tombow or the Copics. Tombows are better than Copics, but not by much. You want the best bang for your buck? Get Ohuhu. The Ohuhu markers are literally the best bang for your buck. These markers are fantastic. Where the fuck is them? I can
see it. You're good.
So I will tell you, these ones, for a set of 320, last year I only spent $213. 320 Copics, numbers in the thousands.
Wow.
Because they're $8 a marker.
It's a little much.
It's a lot. Well, that's because for the longest time, a lot of folks don't realize this, there was no other marker. You couldn't get anything else. And Copics, for better or worse, you could get one barrel, and then you could replace the nibs, and you could refill the barrel. So a lot of people could have that same marker for 10 years and just refill it as needed. And you get the big, thick thing. Well, the thing is, no one else did that. Alcohol markers were expensive, and there wasn't a lot of demand for it, which is one of the reasons why I stopped drawing for a long time. Well, don't get Crayola. Get my Ohuhu. Got it. I hate you. No, Crayola's shit, but still. And
Unless you're 12, then it's the shit.
Then it's the shit. Like, but I mean, honestly, Ohuhu, I feel is good enough that whether you're just starting out or you're doing it professionally, this is the marker to go through. That's how I felt for quite some time, and I'm not changing that mind.
Sounds logical to me.
I like saving money. Queen Elizabeth stopped breeding more dogs in her 90s because she didn't want them to grieve. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the friend I told you that lost her dog, I told her last week she should have had in my opinion, when you have pets, and this is my opinion, you don't have to agree with it, I don't believe in having just one of anything. And here's why. Because that animal has to live their life alone, essentially. Penny, what the fuck are you doing back there? I can hear you. Penny, get down! Penny! Piece of shit. And a lot of times, they don't do well. In my experience, a lot of these animals don't do well being completely alone. And when one of your pets inevitably dies, one, it does make it easier for you to grieve. And two, it makes it easier for your pet to grieve when you have multiples, in my opinion. I'm not saying have as many as I have. But I'm saying if you have dogs, having 2 or 3 is a wiser choice than having one. Unless
depends. If you're home all the time.
I'm talking like usually a dog, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to pop my ear while I'm talking, guys. A dog that, even if you're home all the time, having another dog around, to me, is a very logical choice. And again, if you don't agree, it is fine. You have the right to your wrong opinion.
Of course, what she's missing is that dogs have, in many ways, been bred to bond with humans, and they don't necessarily always need another canine companion.
Right. And I was going to go to this. Sometimes dogs who do not want dogs. Right. And I mean, glad I'm your friend? Yes. Yes, I am. I very much am. Make no bones about that, even when you're a pain in my ass, Rachel. You're my pain in the ass. I know, right? It's getting to that time, kid.
Yeah, I still got to make my video.
I'm just gonna finish, and she and I have to finish our talk. The only reason we stopped.
Hi, Dragzilla.
Is because we realized we were keeping you guys waiting too long. We were like, oh, they're gonna riot.
The reason we stopped is because Sheep was talking too much.
That's right.
We finally got him to shut up, and we went live.
Sheep was talking. That is true. And, the conversation dragged on because he just
wouldn't stop.
Blah, 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 blah. All about his day and his job and just,
all these things. We didn't want to listen. He just wouldn't stop.
God. He's very excited about me visiting, He's like, I can't wait for you to get here. I'm like, I know. I'll get there. God.
Yeah.
We're all getting tired of talking. It starts on eventually. Wipe my ass. No, one habit of being that he sticks to me like glue. Who? Sheep? Cheating, I see. No. One of the reasons I got Serious Business was when I did is because Serious is her Irish Wolfhound, by the way. Mercedes barks. Oh my god. Whether it's Penny or Orion. Well, the Greys have it. Yeah, always my Grey. Right now, Penny has been stuck to me most of the day. She and Luna had me trapped on the couch. Okay. I sat down. I had my breakfast. I made my coffee. Okay.
Thank you, Drag.
I sat down and I was like, all right, I'm going to finish my coffee. I'm going to get in the room to edit. I was on the last 3 sips of my coffee. Penny got up on the shoulder. I'm like, well, that's okay. Penny always joins me in the office anyway. I took the last sip and Luna just like sucked up onto here and I was like, shit. And go ahead. Go on.
No, see, my dogs, when I have to get up, it doesn't matter. They got to get up too.
That's the one bad part about anxiety-ridden cats. I don't do it with them. I try not to do it immediately afterwards because cats do take it personal. And on top of that, sometimes that personal becomes a perfume.
Yeah. Grace takes it personally, but what she does is she jumps off, turns around, and starts barking at me. And she literally starts yelling at me. It's if there were words, it'd be, why the fuck are you making me get up?
So remember how I was looking for that marker this whole time?
Oh.
It was already in my hand.
Maybe it's time for bed.
I was going crazy for that motherfucker. I couldn't find it anywhere. Jason says he goes on and on, sometimes doesn't stop talking. Yeah, right. I mean, God, sheep, listen to Esteban here. Don't be like Jason.
Yeah, don't talk so much.
Thankfully, he doesn't get to beat me for another few weeks. So
I'm not listening to it's kind of.
She's like, oh no,
nothing. What? I can't look at you.
I hear you still listening to me. I'm like, I got headphones on for something else.
I didn't say you weren't listening. I didn't say you weren't listening to me like that.
Okay.
Why don't you listen to us? This is very rude. We've been talking to you this whole time, and you just didn't. We've been waiting for a response.
Y'all so goddamn childish.
What's your point?
It's so rude. It's very misogynistic. We've been talking to you, and you just ignored us as women. You know what? This is why we're with Kamala, okay? They're with her.
Definitely not. There's some things I'm not willing to put out there.
We're trying to get into the algorithm again, woman.
I'll fuck the algorithm at that point.
Exactly. We will fuck the algorithm.
I mean, I guess if it gets me a few more followers.
Is the algorithm willing to put out? How much an hour? I know people on their phone telling people on their phone that they're looking for it. So we'll leave with this story. I don't know if anyone does this anymore, but back in the day, there was this prank that everyone used to pull. She's going to know what I'm talking about after I say it. You send out a mass text to all your family and friends. And she knows what I'm about to say. And you tell people in the text, I've lost my phone. I can't find it. Will you please message me back or call me so I can find it? Now, don't you ruin it, ma'am. What is wrong with that statement? I need you all to marinate on that for a minute. Because this is before the age of Facebook Messenger. This is before the age of Instagram messages. Just think about that. Give it a second. If you haven't caught on. So I sent that out. I rarely did it because I was, especially back then, not on my phone a lot. Rachel's like, oh God. I sent out the message. And I got back a fair portion of hearty har-hars. But one of them. And I want you to understand something. She's an accountant. This is a college master's graduate. She's an intelligent woman.
Supposedly.
She texted me, oh no! I'll get right on it. Have you found it yet? I messaged back, no. And she called it. And I answered, and she goes, oh, did you find it yet? I said, my dog, I'm not going to say her name because sometimes she watches my stream. I said, my darling, I want you to really think about it. What do you mean? And I said, how did you get my text? And there was a silence. Cassie! But one of them, oh no, you gotta understand, so I need popcorn. She's one of those people that's extremely intelligent, but also extremely innocent. So if you ever want to just see, if you have a group of family and friends that you really want to see, if they're paying attention, send them that text and just see who catches on. It's a big thing to do back in the day. Big one.
I never actually did it.
Email one was funnier because people would say, like, oh, I can't get home to my computer. Da 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 da. Can you get? The only way you could email someone was from your computer. It was the whole thing. It's like people would do these convoluted tricks just to see how they could fuck with people. It's like the video of the guy texting a picture of his girl's phone on her way out saying she left. Yes. Exactly. Lucky I never saw an Asian hornet when they came to... Yeah. And they're still finding nests.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what they've been using. They've been using some special thing, but they've actually tried to use drones now. Either way, the only hornet bigger than the European hornet is the Asian hornet, and that motherfucker is huge. So I don't even want to know what the Asian hornet feels like in person. But that being said, I do believe it is 1:21 a.m. And considering the state I'm in, why don't you lead us out, my darling?
This week I will be on Brahma's channel tomorrow night. I will be doing nothing Wednesday. I will have a stream on my Abysmal Critic channel on Thursday. I'll be doing nothing on Friday that I can remember. Saturday I will be playing either 7 Days to Die or Neverwinter Nights on this channel. And then Sunday we will be doing Dungeons and Dragons. So stop by for any of that stuff. You can catch my daily upload on my Abysmal Critic channel at 10 a.m. for video game news.
10 a.m.
Mountain time. So noon for you Easterns. And yeah, that's it. It's what I got going.
Well, I am going to try to get out 2 videos this week because I'm a masochist. And they are going to be one reviewing Joshua Weissman, which I started months ago. And it's reviewing his lower fat food that he designed. And I'm going to try some of these recipes because I have recently discovered that my calorie counting was way off, like horribly off.
Uh-oh.
And even though I was burning the right amount of calories, I was still not counting them properly. So that's something that I've learned and I'm already getting ready to fix.
Oops.
And I've already incorporated it in the last week. And I've already shockingly dropped more weight as a result. So I'm very proud of that. So we're all very happy either way. So you got, and so that's when it's coming out this week. And I'm hoping, if you guys haven't looked, I dropped you all a special treat last week after my other video. I dropped the J-Bay wrap.
I didn't see that yet.
You should. You should. It is the most powerful of cringes, but I did it on purpose. So if you all want to go enjoy some cringe, go fly. You can go and see the J-Bay wrap. You can also see my video from last week that was released of the man who wished to be a gym teacher remotely at 450 pounds. With asthma and tension in his heart and diabetes and all that lovely stuff. It was a great watch. You should all go see it. Still don't know the conclusion. Don't know what the guy looks like. That's okay. Tomorrow you will see me live at noon. And we will be chatting and drawing. And I will probably be finishing tomorrow Old Trump. And now that I have recovered, I have... That video is fun. It was painful, but you still watched it. It is meant to be painful. I want to preface this. If you are watching this right now and you go to my channel to watch the J-Bay wrap, understand I wrote and recorded my voice before I ever found the song. I wanted it to be as bad as possible to reflect its theme, J-Bay. Otherwise, guys, there's probably not going to be any StarMorata next week as we have visitors coming for a certain young lady right there.
Family. Yay.
And yes, which reminds me at some point I got to ask Stars on her heart to show me how to do the restream. I'll figure it out tomorrow.
That's easy. Easy.
That's not hard at all. It's very user-friendly. Very user-friendly. The remote gym teacher wannabe was fun to watch. I showed up for a premiere. I was catfished into that shit. I did the J-Bay as an instant premiere.
That's cruel. That's cruel.
I was so proud of myself. Anyways.
Yes, rich people are weird. You're right.
Are weird. But either way, guys. So, and don't forget, around this time next month, you'll be seeing us together. Either way, guys, that is all for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Please remember to get your animals properly vaccinated. Spay and neuter your pets. Don't worry about letting them run around and make babies all amuck. Remember to tell people that are important to you that you love them to be safe. So, Horror.
Yes.
I love you.
I love you too.
Be safe.
You too.
Have a good night, everybody. We love you. Bye-bye.